This is the Bill Squire Show.
Drinks Tommy. Welcome to this week's episode of the Bill Squire Show. We're dark and horny in here.
We are. Guess what time it is?
The Bill Squire Show. Pants right there.
Hello.
Tommy's right there. We were supposed to have a guest today. I'm not going to say who it was supposed to be. I'm not going to say their name.
But they died.
Drake.
No, it was not. But that's the thing. It was a hot girl. I'll say this. It was a hot girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a text from her very late at night saying she wasn't going to be able to make it today.
Mm-hmm.
And my guess is that she was partying with Drake.
Oh, maybe.
And that is why.
That would be a good excuse
I didn't mean to
honestly.
wreck your premise there.
No, that's all right. But like, it's you were on the right track. It's one of those things where I was like, the text said family emergency at 2:40 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
She would not be calling or texting you at 2:30 a.m. at a family emergency. That's the last thing I'm thinking of.
Right.
I had to
Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Not mad at you. Just tell the truth. Just
Right.
say I partied hard tonight. I ain't gonna be alive tomorrow.
You used to call me on my cell phone
Mm-hmm.
when you're supposed to be on my podcast. Call me on my cell phone. Yeah, I'm not at all used to hot women bailing on me.
No?
No. It's not. It's a new feeling.
But she bailed on all of us, including Thomas.
Well,
which
in
is-
true fashion, I'm gonna make it about myself.
I get bailed on. Don't act like I don't get bailed on.
You don't get bailed on.
I do too.
By
I
who?
do too. People.
Did Drake bail on you to hang out
by
with
Yeah.
this girl?
Yeah. No, I did DM and he didn't respond. He said,
Terrible,
old
terrible
86?
people.
Question mark.
I was given a number by a woman. It was her number. It wasn't some other.
Oh, okay. I was like, did you
Mhm.
get Drake's number?
So
Not
I was
that
headed out
one's?
of town, and she wanted me to take her out. So then this is what an adult I am. So I got back in town. I said, "Hello, milady. Shall I squire you out on the town?" Left on red. Gave it a day. Circled back. And then just straight up unfollowed her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, at that point, that's just,
I wasn't even hurt. Like I don't know this person enough, but I just was like, I don't have time for this.
exactly. Yeah.
I feel like I'm like Seinfeld, or I feel very Larry David-ish about dating, where I'm just like, who has the time for it?
If someone just like loses interest, you could just tell, and that's when I'm just out. I'm like, I don't have time to chase. I don't. want the
I hate
patience.
chasing.
Yeah,
I'm just like, what? Do this.
Oh, I have time. to
like
chase.
it's
the
nice to
problem.
have a crush on someone that you don't know if they like you back, but
Mm-hmm.
once you know that they don't, you're just like, all right, fuck it.
That's the best. The best feeling in the world is that when you know there are no stakes on either side, and it's like, can we push this? We
know.
so can push this back. We can totally. And then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming. We don't have to do this tonight. We can do this next week. Yes, please. Oh my God, I'm so hard right now. That's how I know I'm no longer in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
That's my love language, is postponement. I love it. Which is just canceling, by the way.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
we're not. When someone says they're postponed, they're like, no, we're just
not doing this.
we're never doing this.
Mhm.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
It's a soft way to do it. But.
If you don't, if it doesn't
Fucking
happen, doesn't
callous.
happen. Trying to force things is not.
Demon woman.
That's not a 2024 vibe.
No, don't force anything, guys. Consent.
Don't chase people.
yeah.
Chase money.
Yeah, there we go. Chase that money.
That's how Drake didn't Drake say that in that voice. Don't chase people. Chase money.
Oh, I don't know. I don't. The amount I know about Drake is very little. Like I know Hotline Bling,
Mhm.
and I know,
Just hold on.
That-
We're going home.
and I know Start from the Bottom. Now we're here.
Just
and,
hold on,
yeah, I don't know that one that you're doing right
going
now.
Home. I got my eyes on you. You made your mark on me. I need your nasty little butthole. That's how the song goes. Yeah.
That's a good song.
I
All right,
saw-
maybe I should get into him.
I saw Lil Wayne, I think, in like 2007 or 2008. No, it had to have been like 2008. And he had Drake. Drake wasn't even opening. He just like
just
brought
was
him on
there,
stage
yeah.
and
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, this guy.
It's gonna be it.
Yeah. But,
I
but no, because yeah. No, that would make sense. Yeah.
People don't.
was
I don't
thinking
think
about the
people
year he
understand
got
how
it.
famous Drake is still somehow
It's
in
ins-
2024.
Yeah.
Like my buddy was like, he goes, He's like, isn't it kind of embarrassing how the whole city shut down because like Drake's in town? I go,
He's huge.
dude, it's not like Jimmy Eat World. It's
Right.
Drake.
Right,
Drake.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, he's globally like one of the most famous. It'd be like, it's like when Madonna came through. I think Madonna didn't shut the city down the same way Drake did.
Not even close. She didn't even.
nah.
She didn't even come close.
In the 80s, she would have,
Right.
90s, but yeah, in 2024.
Well, in Madonna's not doing herself any favors because she's starting her shows super late and she's not putting on great shows from what reviews are saying. And it's also like her audience doesn't want a show that starts at 10:30 p.m.
No, because they're our age.
Yeah, and so she's not building up goodwill. Whereas there's some performers that keep knocking it out of the park and they keep their audience growing. And Madonna seems to be doing the opposite of that because she kind of gets in her own way with her diva behavior.
Well, I mean, I can relate. I can't relate, but I can understand. If I was 65 and I had $500 million in the bank, I'm probably showing up for work whenever the fuck I feel like it, too.
Right.
And that's kind of.
No, but I don't think you would. I don't think I would because it's like I'm still putting on a show. I still understand these people
You
have
want to
lives.
respect them.
This is
yeah.
a Thursday night.
No, it's not professional. Of course not.
And so, but I'm saying like I would keep my professionalism, or I wouldn't go out on the road.
Yeah.
Like, but if I'm gonna go out on the road,
Bless you. Jesus.
That was so fucking
I was
aggressive.
expecting
Are
all
you
kind of-
okay?
yeah.
I was expecting
I'm a
all kinds
dad.
of
I
boogers.
sneeze, dad.
Yeah.
I sneeze, dad.
Dad sneeze scares the shit out of me.
Dad
No, I
sneeze.
get it. Like, there is like you got a whole crew of people too. Like
Yeah.
like when you're Madonna's
not
size,
just one
she's probably got a crew of 200 people,
Mm-hmm.
100 people.
Yeah.
And then you got 20,000 people that probably paid hundreds of dollars to see you.
Yeah.
I get it.
So yeah, just like I like that professionalism, and I came back into the city from a gig in Youngstown, and I was dropping off John Armstrong, who's been on the podcast, and I was like, man, I hope we don't hit that Drake traffic, and it's like 10:30. He's like, Bill, we got 2 hours, and he was right. There wasn't
probably dead.
It was super dead at that point
Yeah.
because.
Because the show was going on.
Yeah.
The show's
right,
going
yeah,
on, yeah,
yeah.
but like once it's over, that's
Then
but it probably wasn't going to end till 11:30 or 12.
This could be my last PSA to Drake. The ban is lifted. You can come by Old 86. Stop emailing me. It's fine. We're over it. You can come.
Come squash this.
I'm not going to reserve the booth for you or anything, but if you want to come through, pull up.
Let me give a little quick Old 86 update on something that I found astounding. So Friday night, we were there, and I was playing Penguin Bowling, which I am dominant at.
Okay.
I am dominant. I have 1 through 10, all the high scores.
Damn.
And I even now have a hard time getting in that top 10 again.
Oh, okay.
So then Friday I go there, and this is for months I've had these high scores.
Mm-hmm.
Friday I go in there, I play a little bit, and it gets to the high score screen, and there it is, number 2. Our boy Keon, number 2.
You're on top now, man. There's a bullseye in your back.
He's
Yeah.
and I was like, I messaged him. I was like, this score is impressive, and then he was there. So then we sat and played, and we played for a little while, and I was just very impressed. So like now I gotta step up my game. I gotta get that perfect game.
That's good that you want your screen. You want your screen covered? Is that what you're saying? Or
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I want to.
You
But
want
now,
it back, Bill. No
Yeah.
Keon.
yeah, I want it back. But like for me to get it back is gonna be impossible. But
Yeah.
I like the motivation.
Mhm.
I like the competition.
That's fun.
I like that I go, all right, let's get back to number
No,
1.
hey,
on here."
man.
I mean, I'm still number 1, but I want the whole screen to.
What's it like to be competitive? I've never spent a day in my life I'm not even trying to be like aloof or condescending. I don't have like a competitive bone in my body.
I've got it on. I've only got it for certain things.
Yeah.
Like
I don't have it for anything.
and for dumb shit like
neither.
this is where I like it the best because it's just silly.
Yeah.
And then I use it for a little bit in comedy, but not even that kind of fucks with my
I
creativity.
think competitiveness in comedy, I think, would be a very bad trait to develop.
Okay.
So the competitiveness, it's all how you channel it though. So if you are being competitive to try and top somebody else, that's not great. But if you see what other people are doing, go, oh, I can match that, I can do better, and not focus on the end results, but what goes into it. That's where it gets helpful and productive.
I think it just so ties into ego, where like if I find myself paying too much attention to other designers or even comedians or anybody doing creative stuff, then it's an easy slippery slope into jealousy,
Right, and that's
pettiness
and
stuff.
that's the dichotomy that's very difficult. Like you said, it's very difficult to keep from getting jealous or get bitter, shit like that.
Yeah, like
So like
And
stuff
so-
like that
yeah.
where there's not like an actual
Exactly. Is
end,
fun.
like, yeah.
But then still having that motivation
Yeah.
within your comedy and using other people to be like, oh, okay, they're doing this. You see what they're doing. You see what they're doing good, and you go, okay, what do I do that's not trying to emulate them, but what do I do that's good that connects with people and what are my strengths and pushing yourself forward to continue to be able to sell tickets, and because that's what it comes down to, is selling fucking tickets.
Yeah.
It's all about you not trying to be a modern,
Oh, that was That was like so quiet, but it was
a
stuck.
little boy.
you're not trying to be the
didn't
new
have it.
breed of truth speakers and
Ah,
modern
fucking-
philosophers and
Well, and
Uh,
like in a way, no.
a mirror,
In
a
much
mirror of
bigger-
society.
a much bigger way. I feel like I'm just gonna keep doing comedy the way I've done it, where I like to talk about some topics that are controversial, but I like to take them from a point of view where it might actually, first of all, it's funny all the way through. That's all. Like I want it to be funny, and I also like when things will make somebody actually go, "Oh, I never thought of it like that."
Yeah,
Because there's so much of that straightforward shit right now that there's like, I'm not gonna pretend, blah blah blah. I worked with a comic last night that did a bunch of shitty trans jokes, and they were garbage. And it's like the audience was like, he's like, oh, you guys aren't. What are you guys being woke? And it's like, no, they're not that good at jokes.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Oh, man.
like that's what I can't stand that
the second
shit.
the second you go to that, you're like, yeah, you're done for the night.
It's like they're just retread jokes that, like, yeah, we get it. The girl's got a dick, and woohoo, dude! Like we've
Yeah.
heard this one so many times. It's just.
I also think this is a paid comedian. This is not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. Like
and it was so out of left field because like the rest of his stuff was pretty milquetoast, like milquetoast, and like it wasn't controversial at all. But like it was funny, good stuff. And then just out of left field, he's like, "Blah, here's this transphobic shit that did not go over very
in
well
Youngstown,
at all."
it didn't go.
In Youngstown, well,
No offense to Youngstown. But I'm kind of like, this is impressive that Youngstown wasn't biting on it.
Right.
You know?
and
Yeah.
like there were enough people in there that were laughing that it was okay. But like compared to what the rest of his set was and what my set was and what John Armstrong's set was, that was like the lowest it got
Yeah.
because everybody was just like, "What the fuck?"
John is so funny, man.
John is so
He
funny.
is, I like him.
He like,
and I can talk comedy theory with him all day too. Like me and him
John is.
on the drive out and back, we have a lot of good conversations. And
Yeah. I've bullshitted with him before. He's number one great dude, but yeah, like I was watching him a couple weeks ago at the High and Dry thing.
Yeah.
He was going down a premise that like I think about a lot, and I never talk shtick with comedians, but afterwards I had to talk to him about it
Yeah.
because I was like, I think about that all the time, this and that. And I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I got to get off my chest.
Yeah. No, he's great at that, and he's very aware of like which direction he's going, and like
Oh,
how
yeah.
like he's very calculated, even though it seems very off the top of his head. And
Oh, he
he's-
makes it
he's-
look
he's great.
effortless.
He's
Yeah,
great.
he's in that spot where if he read you his Starbucks order, you'd be laughing.
Yeah.
Type stuff.
All right. While we're on the topic of comedians, Shane Gillis hosted SNL last night. It's his triumphant return to SNL. He got fired before
I don't
he
know
even did a
this.
show.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
here's
tell
what
me about
happened.
this.
He
You may have actually told me, but
we can reset it for everybody. So
Audience.
he got hired in, was it 2019, I believe, maybe 2018.
I think 19.
I think it was 2019.
Either way,
Yeah.
it was years ago.
It was like 5 years ago. I think it was 2019. So he got hired in the cast that was like Bowen Yang and Chloe Feynman.
Okay.
And he, as soon as he got hired, someone went through like all his old podcast episodes and found an episode of a podcast where he was talking about Chinatown and how gross it was. And then
That's not funny, but it's not like sorry.
so he's going on about that, but then he starts doing the voice. And he does it for a while, and it's but it's also like a pretty old episode. But it was also here's why it was so controversial, because it was the first time that SNL had hired an Asian cast member, and that was Bowen Yang. So they're like, so you're hiring Bowen Yang, but you're having this dude that
He also said the CH word in the episode.
Oh
that
yeah.
got dragged. But and I'm not trying to even enter a side on the discussion, but he was doing it contextually in the context of this person.
Yeah.
And so when this happened, he got fired before they even started the season. It was like he got hired one day, and then 2 days later, like, he's gone. And we talked about it on the Alan Cox Show, weekdays 2 to 6:30, or you can listen to the podcast, or you can watch it on YouTube. There's so many people. Like my good sweet baby boyfriend, Joe Briggs. He's like, "Oh, you guys podcasts?" I'm like, "We do everything, man. It's everything. It's podcast, YouTube. You can watch it.
Covered, buddy.
Yeah.
You name it."
He's like, "I thought it was just on the radio." I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You're supposed to be my friend. You're supposed to know this stuff." So that moved him down the rankings a little bit.
Nice.
But anyway, so we talked about it then, and this is why I get so annoyed with the cancel culture conversation, because it's a more nuanced conversation than a lot of people think. And so I said, I understand why SNL did that. I didn't say I agreed with it. I just said I understand why they fired him. But I think it sucks because I have done a ton of shitty podcasts, and they could probably dig into things that I said and be like, oh, here's Bill being not great. And so
don't look at my Facebook memories.
Right.
Facebook was, oh, Jesus Christ, that's terrifying.
I think what's shitty about it is,
but then people come at me and they're like, oh, you're just on the side of woke. I'm like, no, you didn't even listen to the whole thing I said.
there's
I just said I understand
nuance.
that SNL was protecting themselves.
Yeah.
There's
Like,
no room for there to be a gray area discussion or to like get into like the mush of all of it. But yeah, what
Did they ask Bowen Yang about it? If he was comfortable with Shane?
I don't remember.
here's what's
but
shitty
probably.
about what's shitty about that too is it immediately puts him on the spot in the same way Shane got fucked with the whole thing, because then it's like if they go to Bowen Yang, he's like, what the fuck am I supposed to say?
Right. He's like, I'm just trying to get on the show.
Yeah.
Like,
let's just assume he doesn't really give a shit.
Yeah.
You're
But he can't
forced
say
to
that.
have to have him come out and say something.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I'm sure he was probably not thrilled at hearing Shane do that stuff.
Right, but
I mean, also, Bowen Yang is a gay Asian man, so it's like they really garnished layers onto the.
And also incredibly funny. Bowen Yang's a funny dude.
Bowen Yang is funny. Shane Gillis is funny.
Yeah.
And it just
so it's not like they just like find a gay Asian. They found a very funny guy that's gay and
give
Asian.
me one, Lauren. Like, go give me one.
Yeah.
all in one, please.
I felt like someone saved the clip of that podcast and just wanted to sit out.
They were just waiting for it.
Oh,
yeah.
Like I felt like they had that one chambered and they wanted to just unleash it.
And in the end, like, it sucked at that moment for Shane, but I don't think he's bigger than he ever would have been on that show.
I think honestly, long term, looking back 5 years from now, it clearly benefited. Like, he came out on the other side bigger and better from it. And also, if he wasn't funny and he wasn't a good comedian, he would have just disappeared.
Right. And I watched the whole episode. You guys get to watch some of it?
Yeah.
I watched some chunks of it.
The monologue was the highlight, I think.
As it always is, I feel like.
For a comedian.
Yeah.
When it's a comedian. Because when a comedian does SNL and they do a monologue of stand-up, it's basically a mini comedy special.
Yep.
Like, it's 7-10 minutes. I mean, I think Chappelle did like a 14-minute monologue one. Like, he did a long one. I think Mulaney's done pretty long ones, and it was funny. The thing that drives me crazy though is like, just let it be funny instead of all the people that are in the comments like, this is the most epic monologue. Like, it wasn't
He seemed so nervous.
He was so nervous.
It made
you
me
could
uncomfortable
tell.
at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he's like,
liked-
"Oh, this didn't land. I thought you all would like that."
Yeah.
And like he was
I
just.
thought he dug
yeah.
himself out of like I really like I thought the monologue was good and I thought there was a lot of funny stuff in
It was, yeah, but he was
Absolutely.
definitely nervous.
I've never seen him or a comedian of his level kind of be like,
Yeah.
oh,
I think
Same.
when he walked out on that stage and it was go time and it's live TV. This is the thing that people forget about SNL. That's live.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
a pre-recorded monologue where you get to flub. Like that is
Yeah.
live. That
yeah,
is
it's real.
an immense amount of pressure.
Yeah.
And he did a good job. It was funny, but you could see the nerves and the moment where he goes, "Oh, this is so like it was."
And he's like, "I
It
can
hit
see
him.
all of you.
It
I
hit-
wasn't expecting
yeah.
to be able to see
The
y'all."
scale
Yeah.
of it, it's like
Well, and that's a weird thing too
Yeah,
because when you're
yeah.
doing stand-up, usually it's a bright light. You can't really see the crowd,
Right. Yeah.
And like you can kind of see, but like not really. And when it's
you can't
when
see
the
people
audience
not
is
enjoying
lit,
shit.
Exactly.
yeah, when the audience is lit, and so like this is something that I do. I just did a show where it was just bright. Like I did a show at a
It's like having sex with the lights on.
Right.
It's a little different.
Again, you can see people not enjoying
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
so like I know not to focus on people. Like
Yeah.
I like look past them.
Mhm.
Where like if I'm looking like does it look like I'm looking at you right now, Pants? Kinda, but not
Kinda,
really.
Yeah.
Like so
Yeah.
you're like, oh, he's supposed to be looking at somebody behind
Yep,
me.
yeah.
But I'm just kind of like unfocused, like magic eye picture. Like an audience that's having a good time will appear.
That's the
Yes.
irony of performing live is definitely like you're connected and in the moment and you're like connected to people, but you're like, I ain't looking at anybody.
Yeah.
Right now.
And
I'm staring into the middle distance, just letting words fall out of my
the
mouth.
the gravity of doing it live, doing it on SNL where he was hired and fired and is kind of an anomaly of a cast member that had that situation that became very successful. I think that all hit him right as soon
Yeah.
as they brought him out, and also not having the usual people. I mean, he's selling out theaters. He's doing big shows in front of people that are dying to see him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then he goes up and he does his brand of comedy, which is not
Not for TV.
yeah, not for TV. He even mentions that he's like, I don't have any material for TV. Like, but he's funny and he's charming. And I thought he did a good job, but you saw the nerves.
It was kind of wholesome, but yeah.
Throughout the episode, you saw that.
I thought it was
was
endearing
tough.
because
Yeah.
his brand of comedy and just his physicality is kind of that awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, like, this shouldn't be happening.
So-
Yes.
vibe,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like-
Yeah.
my buddy Raj always says that Joe Briggs is stealing Shane Gillis' hands. Like they do the same hand movements and stuff, and it makes Joe Briggs. He's like, no, I've always been like this. He's like, you're doing it again.
I will say, no, the thing is,
but then going. Oh, sorry. Before you get into that, so then you go into the comments, and then people were like, "It's so cool that he said retarded and gay." I'm like, it's like,
you knew that, but people had
people
from the moment that show was announced.
Yeah.
people had decided whether or not it was going to be the greatest hour of TV ever,
Yep.
Right.
or the worst hour of TV ever.
and it was just a good episode.
It was never going to be judged as
yeah,
that, though.
right. It's like it's good.
It was a victory
not
for
great.
yeah. It was like
There's
either going to be a victory for the woke
Yeah.
side, or it was going to be a victory for the right wing. You know.
and like I watched every sketch. Some of them were pretty funny. The one thing it seems like they don't know how to do is end a sketch. Every sketch ended weird.
I mean,
Yeah.
I only
Yeah.
like a true adult in 2024. I only watched what I could find on Twitter, and it was all the pre-produced
Yeah.
sketches, like the Liberty Mutual commercial and
Dude,
shit.
I liked that one.
No, that
That
one was
was really
very
good.
funny.
Yeah,
That
but
one was funny, but
Yeah.
I still thought it ended kind of like on a soft.
I think that's a classic
No,
SNL
he said
thing.
go out to the car, didn't he? And
Yeah,
then it
but
was,
like-
that was a good ending, I think.
It's
That was
always
probably
kind
the
of a
best
weird.
one.
It's just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, we're done here.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
not really
all
ever
of them
like,
were,
yeah.
like there's not like a punchline really to ever land.
Yeah.
And
I
there
think
was a
that's
cou-
always
yeah.
been kind of a tenet of SNL stuff.
So all the pre-recorded ones went out, like the gambling app where you get to gamble on your
Yes.
friends, like
Right.
beating around, and like
Yeah.
that was another one. I'm like, I think they should have made this 30 seconds shorter, and just let it punch, and then cut it off. And I think they made that a little too long. And this is also like me being hypercritical of like I think editing is good for like leave them laughing, not like we need this one more thing. And I know you're trying to fill time, but like I don't.
I think that's the device of
issue,
that.
yeah.
But I think like you you got an extra sketch in, and that one, especially for the pre-recorded stuff, I think the quicker and punchier those are, the better. And so I thought those were good, but then like the live ones, he did the sketch where he took his family to church in Jamaica, which was funny premise. Like that one was all right. I like that one, and it's kind of a callback to why he was fired, because he gets like into the moment, starts doing Jamaican accent in front of Jamaican people, right? So it's like it's a nod to it without being too overtly. I thought that was a good way of doing it. The Trump sneakers one was pretty funny. Yeah. I thought that was good. You got
the HR one. Is that the ones, people that are in the ones that he got fired with?
They were the two HR people were the ones that were hired in his class.
Yeah, when he should have been. Yeah, which is kind of funny.
That's kind of funny. Yeah. Was Bowen Yang in any sketches with him?
That one.
Yeah, that one.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, so that one is the HR sketches.
Which is, I think that too, obviously, clearly.
I think I don't, and I'm saying this, I only watched 3 sketches in the monologue, but I don't know. If it was me, I would have just leaned it full on into like when Norm returned to SNL.
Yeah.
After he got fired.
And I think that's what people will remember it as, because there's enough of that mark, but it's a 90-minute show. Yeah. So you can't do that in every sketch, because it's
you can't. So
you got your 2 little callbacks to that. You got him going head to head, doing his Trump impersonation with the other guy, Austin Johnson Robinson or Robertson, whatever his name is, and they're both very good at it. It was a pretty funny sketch. Like it was. It was topical. The cold open he wasn't in was shit. It was real bad.
But this is the thing about SNL, not to keep going to it. It's like people over-romanticize SNL.
Absolutely.
There's never been an episode of SNL where it was all bangers from start to finish. At best, there was maybe 2 to 3
Go watch
memorable sketches.
Like when people talk about how Will Ferrell was so good, he had so many turds.
Really?
Yeah, so many turds. But he was in almost every sketch, and he was carrying almost every sketch.
That was kind of
he's got so
more
many that are great.
Fill.
But yeah, there's so many bad sketches over the years.
It's funny that show has become culturally kind of a dinosaur, because it's built on kind of the premise of the internet, where they're like, we're just gonna throw a bunch of stuff at you. Mm-hmm. Some of it you'll remember, some of it will be good, some of it will be fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And it's just they just can't compete with, especially when they
the
try
immediacy
to keep
of what.
Especially because if you're going to be topical and you're going to be of the time, Twitter beats you to the jokes by 6 days.
Yeah.
And also you have the added layer of it when you're doing live sketches and having people react to that. It's so much more different than what he's doing, like Gillian Keeves sketches, like the Uncle's Daycare and stuff, where it's all shot. And then there's no laugh track. And you're just watching.
No, you have the luxury of takes
edited,
and editing.
Really scrutinized sketch versus a show that was thrown together in a week, which is something that is exciting and it can create magical moments, but you're going to get a lot more lulls than peaks when that's the format, especially in this day and age versus the 90s and 80s and 70s when it was more appointment viewing, and now it's just passive.
Yeah, but it's just the nature of
exactly.
Times we live in. Like late night talk shows just aren't what they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't tell the last time I watched the news on TV.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, and that's why you can tell somebody that does keep up with that kind of media, because they parrot exactly what they hear on all that stuff.
Sure.
So when somebody's that's really into Fox News, it's like, oh, I heard this and this and this and this. And I'm like, oh, where'd you hear that? Well, Fox News. Like, okay, well, do you think maybe that they're just trying to scare you? And like, why would they do that? I'm like, because that's how they keep you watching.
I mean, my parents live out in the middle of nowhere, and they're certainly not right-wing people, but anytime I'm over, Fox News is probably on. And I'm like, is this like a Tim and Eric sketch that's on TV? Like, it's insane when you're not tapped into that. Like, you don't see that stuff, and then you're watching. Like, the commercials are insane.
Yeah.
The whole thing's insane. And then, like, I think to myself, I go, there's also, like, a household where all they watch is CNN, and it's also the same level of brainwashing.
And it's like, why are you doing that to yourself? Like, why is that what's always on?
Because people
turn on. You don't want silence? Turn on music. turn on.
That's the age our
Something
parents
else.
lived in. Like they
Yeah.
grew up, you watched the news every night,
Yeah.
And it
that's
was
how
supposed to make you informed.
and you were kind of could trust them
Mm-hmm.
to an extent.
Yeah.
And it's just
At least you
that's
didn't
what
have
they were
anything
raised.
to, find the opposite on. Like you can just go to the internet now and actually find
and find.
the
I'm
truth
just
or just somebody else saying the opposite.
Well,
This is-
and
You can find whatever you
what
want.
what cable news does too. So during the day is just more unbiased news.
Mhm.
You know, they'll have a slant, but then in the evening it's opinion shows.
Mm.
But boomers think that's the news.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't understand that this is just an opinion show where they're putting their bias in framing. They're like, no, Hannity's a news guy, or Tucker Carlson, he's a journalist. He's doing. It's like, no, he's doing an opinion show.
It's like saying like Stephen A. Smith is a media journalist. Like,
Yeah.
no, he gets paid $10 million a year to yell into a camera.
Right,
And
to-
it's fucking awesome.
Like he was a journalist, but now he is
he's very
a
much,
shit stirrer. Like that's.
and I think he is fucking amazing. But yeah,
But he knows that, and he knows that, like, and you can see when he goes in those modes where it's like, okay, I actually have news to report, but he's not getting, like, he's got his sources, he's got his but he's not a breaking news guy
not where
anymore.
the money is for him anymore.
No, that's Woj. Like, if you want breaking NBA news, you go to Woj. You want it in football, it's Rappaport or whatever it is. What's the other dude's
Ian
name?
Rappaport and Adam Schefter.
Schefter, yeah. Those are the people that break news.
But there's so
Everybody
much
else
more money
just
in the
talks.
opinion economy.
Yeah.
Then it's,
Oh, JJ Reddick's doing a whole thing right now where he's calling it all out, and I love it
Oh, yeah, I
because
saw
he's like, listen, I know that if we talk about this, it's gonna, I know how to talk about the X's and O's of basketball,
no one wants
but
to
I
watch
know
that.
if I say Doc Rivers doesn't take the blame, that's where we're getting views.
That's how the
And
game is played.
they're like, don't pull back the curtain like that. He's like, but that's what it is.
See,
And, yeah.
people will still watch it. Like, to
Yeah.
your point, I didn't really know who JJ Reddick was until he started talking wild shit
Yeah,
about Doc Rivers or whatever basketball players,
yeah.
because that's the only way you can.
That's what gets in the fucking algorithm, and
Mhm.
it bothers me. I hate it.
But it's like if you take it with a grain of salt, like I do, and it's entertainment, it's
Yeah.
pro wrestling, then it's like, okay, it doesn't.
But I
weigh
like-
on my, it
well,
doesn't weigh on my moods.
It makes it
anyway.
harder for me to find the X's and O shit that I actually like.
Oh, you actually like sports for sports.
I'm
I
like
don't.
sports for sports. I was watching fucking quarterback film breakdown the other day
Oh my
for like
God.
45 minutes, and I'm like, why am I doing this? But I like it. It's good.
No, I don't. My favorite basketball player of all time, not named LeBron James, is Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley never won a championship,
Mhm.
but Charles Barkley was undoubtedly the most entertaining basketball player of his time.
Him and Rodman was up there too, though. But
yeah,
Sean-
Rodman was
but-
more
but-
a '90s guy to me.
I
Like, I
call
know they're the same time.
This is very important. I
Yes.
call Charles Barkley.
There you go.
So
Love that.
That's my
No,
input.
Charles Barkley would come through Cleveland and get in fights and throw dudes through like the windows,
Windows
and bars
and
and
stuff like,
and I
yeah,
go,
yeah.
That's my guy.
love that.
I, go,
Yeah,
I don't
he-
care
no, he
about.
was-
Jordan's got 6 rings.
Mhm.
Charles Barkley's got cooler
He's
shoes.
got
that
one
I like,
plate.
and
He's got
way more
one
entertaining.
plate glass window, and
Yeah,
that's
dude.
that's
And
with
he's-
6 rings.
He just was. That's always been my sort of like. It blew my mind that I hated Johnny Manziel as much as I did because he was kind of the same kind of guy. Where
Well,
it's
here's the
like,
difference, though: is Charles was still awesome on the court.
Mhm.
yeah.
So if he was doing that shit and he wasn't producing on the court, then he's just a wild man. But the fact that he would go like won an MVP, was one of the best players in the league, and then also did that shit is what made him so appealing.
I love. I mean,
And then his anti-hero I'm not a role model campaign and shit like that was so badass
that was,
in an
that
era.
was in my mind the greatest marketing campaign
Yeah.
for any athlete ever.
And then
It was the realest shit ever. Like, just like it's a black and white video, and he's standing there. There's no. It's just him saying, "I'm not a role model." And
So-
he's like, "Sorry, go on."
Going back to SNL,
I'm
when
caught up.
he lost the NBA Finals on the Suns to Jordan,
Mhm.
and then when they came back in the fall, he was the first host of SNL that year, and Jay Moore had just gotten hired as a writer performer, and they were in the writers meeting and they were trying to figure out something to do, and he had just done a commercial where it was Godzilla versus Barkley and it was like a Nike commercial. And then Jay Moore's idea was, what if it was Barkley versus Barney? And they did a Barkley versus Barney commercial, and like that was the first thing that Jay Moore pitched, and it got on, and he's like, I'm gonna be so good at this.
How long was he on the show for, Jay Moore?
I think maybe 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And he had some controversy because he stole like another dude's bit and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
He's got a great book that was really like a tell-all, really interesting stuff.
He
if you're
admits
into
to that
Yeah.
in his book? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He owned up to it, and,
Hell yeah. Well,
and he's like, yeah,
Respect,
that was
I
a shitty thing to do, and I did it, and here's
You
the
can't
guy
get
that,
away with
yeah.
that shit anymore.
no,
No.
yeah.
You just can't.
And this is in 1992 or something. 93.
Sure. I mean, so
Yeah.
imagine how many other people got away with it because
Yeah.
it was before the internet
Right,
and everyone was videotaping everything.
So, but that he said they went to a shoot around, and Charles picked up a basketball. He said, "This is the first time I've touched a basketball since the finals." He's like, "I didn't know if I was ever going to touch one of these again." I was devastated, and he missed like his first 3 shots, and then once he got dialed in, he didn't miss a shot like the entire time. So it was just it's a really interesting story, and but also just a great sketch going back to SNL, and just like a perfect. Barney was at the height of
peak
Barney, and Charles Barkley doing the Godzilla thing. It was awesome.
But here's what's up with that is I'm sure that was so maybe that was the only sketch anyone remembers from that episode.
Exactly.
That was how SNL worked. Like
Yep.
people talk about the early 90s of SNL.
Yeah.
It had like the wildest lineup ever
Yeah.
and stuff. But it was like still like even in peak SNL, you maybe have laughed your dick off at 2 sketches a
Mhm.
week. That's just the way the show has always been.
Exactly. Because I remember trying to get into SNL, and I was like, "Well, this is not good." Well, this is not
I thought you meant like
good.
trying to
thought you were
get
trying
on
to get on
SNL.
No,
the
no,
cast
no.
of SNL.
We're like,
No,
oh,
like
okay.
trying to get into SNL, like because I really liked Mike Myers and I liked Adam Sandler.
You just
and-
never were into it, huh?
No, I mean I'd watch it, but I never became obsessed with it the way other people did. So I would just kind of find those sketches that I did like
Mhm.
and watch those. But there was, like the best of tapes that would come out would be what I'd watch more than
The highlight
that-
reel.
Yeah, than
Yeah.
the episode every week.
Every because I didn't go out like on the weekends and stuff, and I would sit there and I would watch SNL with my mom and dad and stuff, and that was a sacred cow of
Yeah. That's
comedy.
cool.
Mhm.
That's cool to have that experience like with your parents, because my parents have always been people that go to bed at 8:30,
Whatever
9
made my
o'clock.
dad, yeah, like look, my dad nowadays like wants to talk to me about 2.5 Men and
Mhm.
how funny it is, but like when I was a
Bro,
kid,
talk to him about Cheers.
dude, no, he like when I was a kid, in whatever he belly laughed at super hard, I was that's what's funny, like that's. And thankfully it wasn't young Sheldon back then. It was like funny shit. So he was also fucking the movie Airplane too. And then he goes, "You don't get it." He's like, "There's a propeller sound on the plane, but they're not on a propeller plane." And then he would I go, "Dad, I'm 6."
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
get it.
But I was like, he would just laugh hysterically at shit that I would have to rewatch as an adult. I go, "Oh,
I get it.
yeah."
now.
And then there's the Ted Stryker. That's when I love this. He's drinking orange juice. So the pilot of the plane. So you've seen Airplane, right?
Yeah, it's been.
So when he
long
puts,
time.
he
I got a
pours, he
drinking
just-
problem. Yeah.
And as a kid, I didn't know what alcoholism was. I go, "This guy really sucks at drinking juice." I was like, "That's fucking hilarious."
Joe Briggs, I've mentioned him a lot lately.
good?
He's great. He's the best.
No, he said, "Are you good?"
Yeah, I'm good. But he
Does
did
not
a
reply to
video.
your text?
Yeah.
And he said his dad wants to talk to him about Taylor Swift, but just let's talk about Cheers. And so I started watching Cheers at his suggestion, and I haven't, I've watched it before, but I haven't watched it in a while. And I was watching an early episode, and I was like, how old
No, those
is
me.
how old is Coach? The guy that is Coach.
Yeah. That's
And
insane.
and how old do you think that man is?
who?
Just say-
his actual age.
His actual age. You look at that man. How old do you think he is, Thomas?
78.
You think he's 78?
Yes.
He is 58. 8 years old
Yeah.
in that picture.
Dude, you know how old Norm was when he was on the
He
show?
was like
Insane.
35.
He was like 28. He
Oh.
looked like he was 70.
Yes. What happened?
No, but
thought-
like I think he played 35. Like those guys, because I looked them all up, and like Frasier was 29 when he first came on the show.
Well,
He did kind of. I mean,
He looked
despite,
baby faced.
Yes, but he still does not look 29
right.
when
no,
that
he
started.
because he dressed like that and he
Yes.
acted like that and he had the high hairline and
Yeah.
stuff. But like I think about this all the time. I was like, motherfuckers smoked a pack a day of
Yes.
cigarettes and no one drank water until 2012.
Right.
Like no one in the 80s, you were like drinking water. What are you gay? Like you didn't do it.
Well, it was literally what they would say in Idiocracy, like in the toilet.
It was honestly people drank cow's milk and they never hydrated and they smoked cigarettes and just ate steak
Yeah.
every day. That's why 35-year-olds look like your grandfather.
And there was no sunscreen, and
dude.
and the smoking inside was, I think, the
Huge,
biggest
probably, yeah.
factor because, I mean, you just see people on the show constantly smoking, and that's just such a wild thing to do. And we all remember when you could smoke inside. It'd be like, do you want the smoking section or the non? And you're like, I guess non, but it doesn't.
It's still gonna
matter.
get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's think about that as a concept real
Right.
quick. Like, smoke stays in that side of the room.
Yeah.
You could breathe good over here.
Mm-hmm.
You want to smoke over there. No, we told the smoke to stay on that side
Yeah.
of the room. Like, what?
Right.
Like there was nothing. There was no barrier.
You used to be able to smoke cigarettes on planes.
Yeah.
It wasn't until
There-
a few years ago they still had commissioned planes that had ashtrays in them.
Yeah, yeah.
God,
Yeah.
we're fucking hilarious. It's hilarious humanity has made it this
Yeah.
far.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
I didn't mean to hit you.
speaking of cigarettes and nicotine, I heard Tommy had a Zin.
Oh yeah.
How'd that go?
Not great. It was fine at first, but so I've been sick for
Did
over
you
a
get
week.
the hiccups?
No, no
I got
hiccups.
I got the Zin.
No,
hiccups
I
when
got
tried it.
I have been sick.
Uh-huh.
I drove 2 hours didn't eat before.
Oh,
Ate a
no.
banana like on the way. So that was like it.
Mm.
Sitting there under the lights for hours.
Yeah.
He gives it to me and I start chewing on it. He's like, don't chew on that. I'm like, you didn't tell me what to do.
It's like a tea bag of nicotine,
Yes,
right?
yes, it is. My little, he's like, stop, please don't. He's like, you scared me so bad.
I would be like, you have to shove this up your butt. It works like a
No,
popper.
just put it in there. But anyways, so that, fine. Through the whole thing. As soon as I got up, I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to puke. And I
Yeah.
went to the bathroom and I puked for like 20 minutes
Okay,
afterwards.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's worse than hiccups.
Yeah, I don't know if it was actually 20 minutes. It
Yeah.
sure fuck felt
No,
like it.
yeah.
But yeah, it was just because I was like sick,
Yeah.
empty stomach,
All the
then all
different-
that
yeah.
nicotine because I don't smoke.
Right.
Like obviously I've smoked nicotine and stuff before, but just I think all of that combined.
Wasn't
Yeah.
ideal.
I came out, I'm like, I'm so sorry, guys.
Do people think like I just like when the nicotine industry introduces something like here's something safe for you that's not as bad for you as cigarettes.
Right.
I mean, doesn't have the smoke.
tastes better, yeah,
It tastes better.
yeah.
Like
It still can't be good for you.
it's
No,
just it's
no,
addictive, and it's
yeah.
like it's not.
I say
Still
this as I've just drank 42
Right.
ounces
Right?
of fucking Monster and I'm drinking a White Claw or whatever.
Mhm. It's better. It's better than smoking. Is all they can really
Yeah,
say.
but I just always feel like people just are lying to themselves with like this is fine, like this is like, no, this is safe. Mm.
I don't even think they're lying to them. They're just going, this is better.
Better than the other option,
yeah.
and I'm gonna do it regardless.
If I'm addicted to nicotine, it's better to do a Zyn than to smoke cigarettes because that's not fucking with my lungs.
I just like if they did a Monster Energy like a teabag Zen thing, but for energy drink, I would probably fuck with it.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's actually not.
I don't know,
bad
but I like the
idea.
ritual of drinking this stuff. Anyway, but
that's me and my vape. I just I can't.
It's the ritual. Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like magical right now.
Magical.
No, because 2 straight nights of goofy drinking.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
we were some goofy boys and
We
girls.
were.
Yeah,
This was a
yeah.
good
It was
weekend.
fun. Like,
Oh,
Good
it's so much
weekend.
fun.
I woke up and I was like, I don't feel great, but it was like that was worth.
I actually
that was
felt
worth
okay
it.
on Saturday. I felt pretty okay.
Yeah, I didn't
yeah.
feel horrendous, but still.
I didn't have like a headache or anything. I was just like, oh, I'm just a sleepy boy today.
I was smart and remembered to take meds before I went to bed both
That's smart.
nights.
Here's why I
so.
feel okay. I have like the liquid IV powders, you know.
Mhm.
So last night before
Snorted
I went
one?
out, I took a glass, poured it into the thing, and I left it right on my counter where I like dropped my keys. So
Yeah.
then
Right when you
You
got
needed
home.
it.
before
yeah.
I went. So I'm not saying I feel 100% great, but I feel far better.
Far
than,
better than
Hell yeah.
Had you not done that.
Had I not done that, I would have woke up and just like ripped some shots, and just because I can't deal with.
Hangovers
Dude,
anymore.
they're
Well,
so
not that
bad. They're
hangover.
so bad.
All right, well, that'll be this episode. We got to do another episode. But thanks for checking this one out. Get tickets to my shows. Go to billsquire.com. I meant to do that at the beginning of the show, but whatever. I'm going to do a reverse crowd work show on March 3rd.
What does that mean?
I'm glad you asked. So I'm going to have the audience ask me questions.
Oh.
Rather than me being like, what do you do for a living?
Mm-hmm.
Is this your girlfriend?
Yeah.
How long has she been your girlfriend? So they're
How
going to
long-
ask me questions.
I can't wait to tell Nick White to be a member of that audience.
Please don't tell Nick White to be a member of the audience.
Oh,
Ask
yeah, I
him
have
every
a question.
9/11 question.
I have a
Oh my
question. It's not going to be what you think. I have a question.
Yeah. But to also make it a little more interesting and fun is I hit up some of my more famous comedian buddies, and they are asking me questions which I have not seen. So like I hit up Kinane, I hit up Roy Wood Jr. and Chad Daniels. They're all going to ask me questions that are going to play on video screen, and then I'll answer them
cool.
there. So
What-
it's got
where's
some.
that?
I
Where's
like
that?
that.
That's way hilarities on March 3rd.
Yeah, I love that. That's
Yeah.
a really. I'm into that.
Yeah, so it'll be
What are you calling it again?
reverse crowd work.
I'm in Jersey.
Reverse cowgirl.
That's this coming weekend. You
Yeah.
idiot. Reverse cowgirl. Is that what you said?
Speaking of reverse
Are you gonna-
cowgirl.
Then you should ask me a question.
Yeah, do a video question.
Do a
okay.
video question.
All right.
Yeah,
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
And just send it to me and tell me like this is the question because I don't want to see it beforehand.
Okay.
Because I don't want to have like canned responses. I want to do it in the
Maybe
moment.
I'll make Chris ask you a question.
Okay. Are you jealous that I get to fuck Tommy?
He would never ask that.
Because he knows.
Tommy's good. Ask reverse cowgirl so we could both ask Bill a question on video.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Yes.
All right.
Oh my
Before we get out of here on this first episode, why does Tommy still smell?
I think I do.
No,
It's
you're
gonna smell
lying.
forever. The house still
No,
smells.
it's in your head.
I got home at like 2:00 yesterday, and Brandon was still awake, and he had been like mopping and fucking taking all of our curtains down. We're just like, it's never gonna go away.
Yes, it is.
Her dogs got skunked.
They did bad. Tarly in the face. He was the one that got the direct hit.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I've never smelled anything that bad before.
It's horrendous.
I mean, like skunk smell is like bad, but I
But
can
like
handle
getting
it.
it that concentrated is insane.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, we've-
chemical. Brandon was like, it smells man-made.
Where can people find your stuff?
Tommy LC, OnlyFans, Fansly, loyal fans. Buy my porn.
Buy her porn, and you
Buy her
can't smell it.
porn.
So
Can't smell it.
If you pay her for her used underwear, you sell that?
I could do that.
You
Yeah.
can smell her then.
Yep.
That's and I love
I'll give
how
you the skunk
I
underwear.
love how casually I just threw that out there.
Yeah,
Like,
thank you.
I should
I
be your
appreciate it.
agent
You
or
should.
something.
You
Yeah.
should.
I'm really good at
You
this.
give me some good ideas.
So good.
Did you guys see the comment? So one of our burp boys go like just they put all the times for Tommy's burps in the latest episode.
I like that we have burp boys.
Yeah, and I go, "What a bounty you have received!" And he replies and goes, "Don't be weird, Bill."
As if
Like,
that's not
I'm
the
the weird
part.
one. You're the burp jerker.
Yeah, you're being it's a little odd,
Yeah.
Bill. It's some odd behavior.
But hey, we love you, burp boys.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so Tommy, pants. What do you got?
Okay, pants on all socials.
And
I'll send you my underwear if you want. You don't even got to pay for it. Just email me.
all right, we'll see you guys.
Don't make
next
it weird. Bye.